Oh, Namostu te vyasa pisaro buddhe fularo bindayo tapata netra jeno toya bharata taila purna prajolita jnana maya pradipa. Salutation to the Vyasa of profound intellect and with eyes like petals of a full-blown lotus flower, by whom the lamp of knowledge filled with the oil of the Mahabharata has been lighted. My name is Swami Adyananda Saraswati. I am going to start Bhagavat Gita, Tritiya Adhyaya, Karma Yoga. Na karmana anarambha naskaryang purusho snute nata sanyasanateva siddhing samadhi gacchati. A person does not get to state of actionlessness by the non-performance of activities, nor does a person attain perfection only by the path of renunciation. Two lifestyles of the people for the achievement of enlightenment or liberation have been discussed. Sannyasa, jnananistha, and karma yoganistha. Karma done at a state of ignorance, desiring ego, greed, and hatred is the cause of bondage. Karma binds the person from one birth to another birth. So some people think that if no action is performed, they will be in a state of actionless, inactivate, free of karma bandhana, and will attain liberation through niskama karma. With this concept in mind, they renounce the world completely. But unfortunately, they commit a great mistake. Karma yoga purifies an aspirant's mind, which is polluted by the impurities of ego, ignorance, attachment, doership, hatred, lust, and greed, leading to the aspirant to think that he is merely the witness to the actions. The right attitude is developed when an aspirant's actions are surrendered to God and he works out of sheer love and devotion. He should not think that he is doing the action and he should not have any expectation for the result of the action, good or bad. In this process, he will develop intuitive knowledge. This will enable him to transcend the ego and lead him to liberation. Simple leave your work and going to a secluded place will lead to inertia or tamasa, and mind will be deluded. This is against the nature of human evolution. Inaction is applied to certain person like Jada Bharata, who had purified his heart by doing karma yoga with swadharma and had complete surrender to God. The idea of not doing anything is degrading for a spiritual seeker. It is neither sannyasa nor tyaga. It is a perverted view of the religion. Hinduism has never encouraged this inaction. Now I'm going to tell about the story of Bharata. Once there lived a great king by the name of Bharata. He ruled his kingdom righteously and administered proper justice towards all people. He performed karma yoga in the spirit of Swadharma and surrendered all of his action to God. When he reached the Vanaprastha stage, he left his kingdom and went into the forest to live the life of an ascetic. I have already told you Vanaprastha. There are 4 stages of Hinduism to adopt: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. The 3rd phase is Vanaprastha. That stage, they don't do any actions. Even his wife is there, the friendly wife as friend, and they prepare themselves for the last step is sannyasa. So Bharata, Raja Bharata has come to secluded place to be sannyasi. He left his kingdom and went to forest to live the life of an ascetic. He built a cottage and spent his time there meditating upon Brahman. One day he saw a lion chasing a pregnant deer, which jumped into the river, delivered a fawn. Fawn means baby deer, and died. The sage Bharata rescued the fawn and brought it up with much attention, care, and love. Even during his meditation, his attention was drawn to the fawn. On his deathbed, his mind was troubled and perturbed as to who would take care of this baby deer after his death, because he had been intentionally attached to the baby deer. Attachment is known as raga, attachment, but being very purified, even as a deer, he meditated constantly and advanced, and certainly he became a man. So what happened? Whatever you think at the time of death, you will get that. If you think an animal, you will be an animal. So be careful at the time of death, you think of good thing, very pure thing. So when after his death, he became deer, baby deer, but he was constantly also doing the meditation due to his purva abhyasa. Okay. So meditation. When his form was a deer, ceased to exist, he was born as a human being in the Brahman family. So his deer period is very shortly. He was a deer, but he died, and then he was born in a Brahman family, and his name was there Bharata. Okay. As he grew up, he was very different from the other children, indifferent. He did not take much or play with other children and appeared to be imbecile, mukha. He is not talking to anybody, became dumb. When he was young, his father asked him to take care of the storehouse of the family, and he gave away everything. He was against asked to guard a farm because the crops might be eaten by the birds. Instead of driving away the birds, he welcomed all the birds to eat the crops. The members of the family were very vexed with him and threw him out of his home. He did not mind for the kind of treatment with him. He did not mind, and rather he was very happy that he was secluded. He wandered happily through the forest. A beautiful story, you see. He was born more on his, he was different from the different people. Storehouse was there, he gave everything. And he was in charge of the crops to drive the birds, but you welcome the birds, you eat everything. Naturally, the people, his members of the family, drove away from the house. And he was very glad, alone, and roaming in the forest. One day a king by the name of Raghugana was passing through the forest on his way to meet a spiritual teacher. 4 pole bearers were carrying him on a palanquin. When one of the pole bearers fell ill, the others could no longer carry the king. They went into the forest looking for someone to help. And finally they found Jadabharata, who appeared to be robust, and he readily agreed to be yoked under the palanquin. Jadabharata was not accustomed to carrying someone on his shoulder, and his movements were not normal. Seeing this, the king ridiculed him as a skinned man, emaciated and weak person, for not being able to carry him. Jadabharata was quiet for some time before he replied, "O king, who is carrying whom? The body is a vehicle and spirit is separated from the body." Really, a gross body and spirit is quite different. Annamaya Kosha is different from the Brahman. The body is a vehicle and the spirit is separated from the body. In this world, who is carrying whom? Everyone is moving led by karma. You think it is I who is to take this palanquin, and who are you? The king got a good lesson, and sensed that this person was not an ordinary person. He got down from the palanquin and falling at his Jadabharata's feet, asked for knowledge of Vedanta. That was the first time Jadabharata spoke at length. He gave the teachings of Vedanta to the king. Till then, he had appeared to be a dull-witted person. Jadabharata. If a person is like Jadabharata, he does not need to perform any action because he is endowed with knowledge before. He has endowed, he has achieved the knowledge Brahma Jnana from the beginning. He does not need anything, only he will meditate to realize the Brahman. He is perpetually established in intuitive vision, prajna. For most people, this is a goal to reach, and it would be a great error to abandon one's swadharma or duties of life to seek it without due to preparation. Renouncing all of the world's activity, some people adopt the path of the sannyasa, donning an ochre cloth and going to a secluded place or ashram to meditate under the supervision of a guru in order to get liberation. But this is an emotional thing. They go back, they leave their home and go to some place for sannyasa. And not a practical one. These sannyasis still have many worldly desires, ego, attachment, hatred, and expectation of the results of the karma in their minds. Until these impurities are totally erased from their minds, they cannot be regarded as true, renunciated with the attainment of pure spiritual knowledge. Briefly, until the ripples of the subtle desires, vasana, are completely extinct in the pool of mind, a renunciate cannot be regarded as a true sannyasa. Okay. Number 5. Nahi kaschit kyanang api karmani jat nahi kaschit karmani khyang api jatu tishtati karmakrut karyetu hevasa karma sarva prakrutir chandi gunavat. What is this meaning? Okay. The meaning of this sloka is nahi kaschit khanangapi jatu tishtati karmakrut karyet hevasa karma sarva prakrutir june. That means, indeed, no one ever exists for a second without performing actions. The guna, sattva-guna, raja-guna, tama-guna, burn of prakriti, impel a person to perform action constantly. So, in this verse, there is the classification of the manifested nature, vyakta prakriti, of the matter and the energy of the universe, and the unmanifested primordial nature, avyakta mula prakriti. There are two types of prakriti. Whatever you see the world, gacha, trees, man, everything, is the vyakta prakriti. Avyakta prakriti is there, nobody sees this. The avyakta prakriti is known as mula prakriti, primordial energy. This mula prakriti is the power of Brahman, the fundamental pure consciousness that is infinite, attributeless, and all-pervading. It is not different from Brahman. She is known as the mother of the universe, or Mahashakti, Maheshwari, Mahamaya, Parameshwari. The primordial energy, nature, Mula Prakriti, Mahamaya, has created this manifested nature, Vyakta Prakriti of the universe, of matter and energy, and the mother of the manifested nature. The Antakarana present in the mind and the attributes qualified Sattva, Raja, Tamaguna are born from Prakriti. The qualities of Prakriti force the mind to do accordingly. There is also another Prakriti of a person. This is the innate nature or Swabhava. This is Swabhava also is known as a Prakriti. Okay. This Swabhava is due to the effects of the past impression action in the karmasaya, in the deep unconscious mind. I have described before, referred to unconscious mind, chitta. There is the impression of the past lives there. The impressions of past lives are stored in chitta, unconscious or subconscious mind. And that comes to you when you are again get a birth, you got this Swabhava of the past life. This is the agent which compels person to be engaged in righteous or unrighteous activities. Quality is sattva, purity, rajas, passionate, and tamasa, inertia, and non-righteousness are present in the antakarana of everybody in different proportion. Antakarana means what? Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. That we call antakarana. In this antakarana, sattva guna, raja guna, tamasa guna. Sattva means pure knowledge, guna, attribute. Raja means hyper excitable, and tamasa inertia. And everybody has good each knowledge, little bigger or smaller amount. The desires in the mind are born of the gunas, qualities. Prompted by the desires, one performs action. Nature has not given you the choice of doing karma or not doing karma. You do not have a choice between action and inaction. Karma or action relates to predominantly to your body and senses. Suppose the subtle components of your body always work. You may not use your hands for feet or any organs, but your mind constantly is working. Even you sleep, your digestive system, your circulatory system, they are working. So your mind constantly works. Even if a person sits down and mind is in action, no one can run away from your karma. Even during your sleep, action is going on. The process of blood circulation, digestion are going on, what I told before. The thought processes and impressions stored in the deep unconscious mind leak out into the subconscious mind, and you see various types of pleasure and unpleasure dreams. When you get up, all of the events of the dream vanishes. A lot of changes occur in your physical body during sleep. Very often, some people are interested in adopting the sannyasa way of life after attending a few spiritual discourses. What happens? Some people have a tendency to go out of their home, to get out the life and leave their home. This is some type of first little more time. They go to some place, they hear some guru is giving some discourses, hearing the discourses for guru or preceptors, they immediately go for sannyas. They are not prepared for sannyasi. That's the emotional. The emotional way they go to a secluded place for sannyasi. They give up their active lives and go to an ashrama far away from home to lead the sannyasa life. That's very bad. I have seen many people like that. They have a misconception about the sannyasa life, that a sannyasi's life is to meditate, read spiritual scriptures, and not performing any actions. But the fact is not that. The fact is that they find out that they will be engaged in different activities according to rule and regulation of the ashram. Otherwise, they will be deprived of their food. They think these people are so stupid. They go to think, oh, I'll go to some Rishikesh ashram and I'll just sit down the guru and meditate, japama, but they don't know how to eat. You have to work something. If you don't work, you don't get any food. Then they do not understand that they turn away from one action to another. No one can escape from the action. It's a very sad. You lived, I have seen this type of thing in my life. Some people being emotional leave their home to go to some ashram, get knowledge. So they are not prepared. They think that ashram will go to sannyas ashram and will be very happy and this thing. But they get all unpleasant situations. So get away from the ashram. It is very difficult to bring the running vehicle to a full stop. Similarly, a very active person should not quit his work out of the emotion to lead an inactive life. He will be relaxed for a day or two, and then he will feel bored and will become a weak person. Suppose we are working all the time and become inactive 1 or 2 days. It's very difficult. I'm a working person doing something, and suddenly I did not do any work. And if you don't do any work, 3 or 4 days, your situation is bored. You are very bored. What to do, you don't know. A story illustrates this idea. The owner of a small factory hired a laborer to take care of his factory. Because he was going out of the town, he paid the laborer twice what the laborer had been earning. The laborer's job was to inspect all the rooms, clean them, verify that water and electricity supplies were working, and attend to the phone. For the past week or so, the laborer was very happy, very glad, as the work was light and the pay was hiked. But the next week has become bored, struggled to perform his duties. He eventually quit because the job was too boring for him. Yes, that's right. If you are working just like suddenly you just left it, it's difficult. The problem that is the inaction is not really appreciated and it only leads to suffering. The real problem of a karma are attachment and hatred that gives rise to the senses of compulsion in the performance of your duties. You should try your best to give up the pairs of opposite raga and dosha, dislikes and likes, and enjoy your work. You should always perform non-selfish actions for the benefit of others, and this mind will be purified. Antakarana will be purified from the ego and other negative impression. Hari Om Sat Sat.